economics, an externality is a cost, not transmitted through prices, incurred by a party who did not agree to the action causing the cost. Externalities happen in all corners of the world. They come in the form of electronic waste, deforestation, oil, overfishing, sweatshops, carbon emissions, and global warming.
Ever wondered how much waste is generated to produce one Intel chip? In San Francisco, 25 pounds of chemicals such as sodium hydroxide and hydrochloric acid, 2,800 gallons of wastewater, 22 cubic feet of hazardous gases, and 7 pounds of hazardous wastes such as arsenic, cadmium, and lead are used to produce one single chip. Brazil is at the center of all deforestation controversy surrounding the world. Many agricultural giants, such as Cargill, buy forested land in Brazil. This land is then cleared to grow soya, which is then used as feed for cattle and poultry in the United States. Due to this, local communities get displaced and often go to forested land and start up again.
In Nigeria, oil spills and the blatant dumping of industrial waste by companies such as Chevron, Shell, and Mobil have made fishing and farming impossible. Drinking water is almost non-existent. The presence of these companies in the Niger Delta have many effects on the local economies, which include the loss of property, price inflation, and prostitution of the local women.
Pescanova is often criticized for overfishing in international waters. As no strict laws protect international waters, 70% of the world's fishing varieties have been severely depleted or entirely exploited over the last 50 years. As the varieties of fish decrease, smaller fish are caught using denser nets. These fish, often inedible, are then crushed and converted to fertilizers or pet food.
In China, the poor working conditions that sweatshops provide lead to terrible health risks of its workers. Child laborers involved with these factories have a high fatality rate. It's estimated that there are between 70 and 80 million child laborers in India. Child labor accounts for 22% of the workforce in Asia, 32% in Africa, 17% in Latin America, 1% in the United States, Canada, Europe, and other wealthy nations.
In Australia, during the past 25 years, carbon emissions have risen to almost twice the world average rate. Per person, the pollution levels are 4.5 times the global average. Although the United States still produces more pollution per person than Australia, Australia's emissions have accelerated to an average growth rate that is twice that of the U.S. since the early 1980s.
Manufacturing that causes air pollution imposes costs on society as a whole. Car drivers aid in the process of global warming by sitting in daily commuter congestion. Chlorofluorocarbonates, CFCs, which are found in hairspray, deteriorate the ozone over time, allowing for more energy from the sun to reach the earth. Trees contain a high level of carbon, and when we cut down thousands of trees at a time, we are releasing too much carbon into the air.
As said earlier, an economic externality is a cost that is incurred by a community that did not wish to pay for it. For example, the price of a fish sandwich from McDonald's does not include the cost of biodiversity lost due to overfishing, or the price of a gallon of gas in Nigeria does not include the cost of the irrigatable land that is lost. The community that usually ends up paying for this cost is the general public. It is clear that economic externalities are a problem faced by the planet, and the only ones to benefit are the corporations. It is estimated that corporations make over $2.2 trillion by neglecting external costs and adversely affecting the environment.